We might see you again, and here we are again. Sam and myself are back at it because we have a brand new tornado warning. Unfortunately, we don't want to be on the air again, but this is what we do to give you the latest information. So we have our area of rotation right now heading basically into Wayne County and into Holmes County. So we have a brand new tornado warning, this until 9:30 for Holmes and Wayne County, because there's the rotation. It's got to move all the way through this whole area. You can see the rotation now moving into far western sections here of Wayne County and also far northwestern sections of Holmes County. There's the town of Shreve. We were just talking about Shreve. We were on the air about a half an hour ago, and there it is again. And you can see where we have this spin. We have rotation near ground level, and also this is interesting to look at. This is our debris tracker. It's a technology called the correlation coefficient. Basically what it does is it scans debris on the ground and differentiates between rain and potentially dirt or trees or leaves or anything that is not weather oriented. And when it comes back with something different, it gives us a little bullseye right there. So there's some stuff near the ground right now that's not rain. And that could be dust, it could be trees, it could be, things that are moving near ground level. So when we see something like this, we start to concern ourselves with potentially ground level rotation. It wouldn't surprise me because this line of storms has been spinning all evening long. So remember when we show you this, this is our storm velocity, our winds inside the storm. Green means winds blowing towards the radar. The radar's up there. So we have very strong winds blowing towards the radar here. And then we have strong winds, not as strong, but still some strong winds blowing in the other direction. So what that basically means is we have rotation. Could be near ground level. In this case, it is Doppler radar indicated. This is the same cell, not the same area of spin that we were watching it on the air for earlier this evening. And there you see, thank you, Sam, for that blue arrow right there, where the rotation likely is, just off to the west of Shreve. So if you're in Shreve, get to your safe spot. And again, we'll say this a lot, and we'll be on during the tornado warning until the tornado warning or the danger has expired. Get to your safe spot, basements. Put as many walls between you and the storm as possible. Get away from windows. Seek shelter immediately in Shreve. Great bit of advice there. There's the town of Shreve, 226. This is in far southern Wayne County. We're on the Wayne-Holmes County border right there, and that's where we're seeing our rotation currently. So this storm is moving off to the east. What is, Sam, if you can hear me, what is the motion of this storm? East at about 30 miles per hour. Okay, so there it is. We're going to go ahead and put a track on this thing, and you can see exactly what we're dealing with here. Shreve right now, the time has come and gone. Get to your safe spot currently. Salt Creek, 920. So we don't have a ton of stuff between Shreve and Salt Creek here in southern Wayne County or northern Holmes County. There's the town of Holmesville. We were down there a few weeks ago doing storm damage stories because they were slammed with severe weather. Eventually, Mount Hope, 927, Mount Eaton, Brewster, Massillon, okay, if this storm continues to move off to the east. But right now, we're very concerned, really, about the town of Shreve. Most likely, you're seeing, and it's 9 o'clock, so there's still a little daylight there, seeing a lowering of the clouds. You're likely seeing a little rotation, and perhaps even this rotation is getting down to the ground. So we had that earlier look at our debris tracker. We didn't like to see that. But notice here, very bright colors indicating very strong winds moving towards our radar. And then we have this couplet against the radar. Take a look here, Sam, at the reflectivity, our radar product, and we can see what we're dealing with right now as far as our radar goes. Okay, this is certainly a nasty storm. And we have this little inflow or this little notch coming right up here into the Fredericksburg area as well. And you can see Ripley right now. That's in northwestern Holmes County. That's where we have a good amount of hail right now falling right along the border of Wayne County and Holmes County. Right there, most likely possibly quarter size at least, or penny size at least, possibly quarter sized hail as well. There's Loudonville, Mohican State Park. No danger there now in Loudonville, as well as we were all about Vermilion Township. It's not, there are two Vermilions. One's along the lake shore. There's another one here in Ashland County. It's a township, but it's an identifiable area. Folks in this area know where it is. And there's Loudonville, Mohican State Park. And then this is the next area now, back on the air here in Holmes County and in Wayne County. Tornado warning in effect until 9:30. It's, I believe, our third individual tornado warning here this evening. We had one outside of Mansfield, and then it moved across Route 30. This has actually slid a little bit south of Route 30, Sam, and that typically can happen in this type of environment where the most energy tends to be areas to our south. So sometimes these storms will just do a little bit of a hook back to the south. Yeah, and look at that. Certainly, we're looking here, and this appears to be wrapping itself a little bit here. So this is a very, very strong wind gust right now, blowing through Ripley, north of Millersburg. There's Fredericksburg right there. You see right there, that is a very strong wind gust here, upwards of 60 plus miles per hour. That itself is a big deal, and there's your rotation. Just outside of the Fredericksburg area now, zooming in a little bit more, we are right on the county line. So Shreve, the worst of the storm is now passing just off to your east. So if you're in Holmesville, if you're in Salt Creek, this is Route 83, goes north and south from Holmes County all the way up to Avon Lake. And you can see this is where the rotation is beginning here. And again, this is a relatively rural area. And one thing to point out, we're pretty far away from our Cleveland radar. So this beam is shooting up in the air. So we look at this and we have to interpolate a little bit at some of this data that we're getting from First Alert Doppler, because we are a little bit farther away from the radar than if we were, say, in Medina County or even up into northern sections of Wayne County. So here we go. There's a look. This is a lot of rain and wind out here, but this is where we're getting most likely that spin. Now, I do want to point out it's relatively a large area. So that leads me to think that if we have a tornado on the ground, it is relatively up into the clouds and perhaps even a little bit weaker than what we would normally see with a tighter rotation. But the problem we have with this thing is it has produced rotation in clouds and funnel clouds all evening long. So the Weather Service issuing that warning for folks in northern sections of Holmes County, southern sections of Wayne County. There you see the different colors on our velocity product there, right along the border of those two counties. So again, if you're in this county polygon here, Mount Eaton, Salt Creek, Holmesville, Millersburg, now's the time to get to your safe spot and get away from windows and put as many walls between you and the storm as possible. Sam, I'm not sure if you can hear me or if you have any info. Oh, you got your mic on. Okay. Any update from the Weather Service? A lot of times we monitor the Weather Service chat, and what they talk about are scanner reports or eyewitness reports, and they give us more information than just our radar technology can give.
Nothing new coming down from spotters or the Weather Service. As you mentioned, this is a pretty rural area out here. So we're in constant contact with our friends over at NWS Cleve. But regarding spotters, doesn't appear there are many out. I'm actually looking to see if anybody is out down that way, and I'm not getting any reports. So for now, we are working with radar indicated rotation. And then, of course, the previous wall cloud and funnel cloud reports that the storm already reported.
Yeah, and then this storm has been spinning now really since about what? 6:45. Yeah, we were on the air a little bit before 7 o'clock, and it wasn't a tornado yet. And then we came back on, obviously, for the one that was issued, and now we have another one. So this line of showers and thunderstorms, it's been spinning, especially the southern edge of it. Sam, if we want to take a wider picture and show the radar and just show you kind of the extent of this thing, it's a pretty impressive line of showers and thunderstorms right now blowing through northern Ohio. Interstate 71 and west, you guys are fine. As we head north, it's broken up just a little bit. In fact, the severe weather threat for greater Cleveland is done. The severe threat for Akron, basically done, certainly done for Medina, throughout Lake Geauga County, no severe weather threat. And then as we head all the way up to the north, these are weakening just a bit as the sun goes down. Still a funky storm there in Ashtabula County. I see that. I don't like the look of that, but at this point does not seem to warrant anything more than just very strong winds right now through central Ashtabula County on the order of potentially 45 or 50 miles per hour. It is not severe at this point. So all the action right now is really here in these two polygons. The orange one is a severe thunderstorm warning. Basically, it's for this part of the storm where the tornado warning is. So Holmes and Wayne severe thunderstorm warning really doesn't matter. It's more for what's happening as far as the tornado warning. And the reason the severe thunderstorm warning is there is because of this damaging straight line wind potential here, right along the leading edge of that storm. A little windy out here too, but this is where we have some wind and some hail potentially here moving through the Shreve area. A lot of heavy rain along 226. And in and around the Holmesville area. This right there, notice this color differentiation. This is a little bluish gray. That indicates where we might have a little bit of hail as well. So there's a lot going on with this storm. The velocity product, I am interested in how we have this area of dry air getting into the center of this storm, which does sometimes indicate where the storm is attempting to spin just a little bit. It's, a rotating, almost, a rotating supercell here. Yeah, you get that inflow of dry air, gets wrapped in the middle of this storm, and this is where you can start to see and potentially the clouds lower, and you get a little bit of a spin up. And that's the concern. That's why we have the tornado warning right now in effect for Wayne and Holmes County. How about the velocity? Let's take a look if we see anything unique or different here. And the velocity product, again, something we use a lot during severe weather and a lot during tornado warnings. It shows the wind speeds inside the storm based on the air movement. So we still do have the greens and reds. It's not particularly tight, but really, Sam, we don't want to, even down south of Millersburg, we've got some spin. We don't want to get overly concerned about a potential tornado here because while that is a huge concern, we also have very strong winds right now blowing through, again, southern Wayne into northern sections of Holmes County here. And this is an area that has been hit hard. We had that derecho several weeks ago, and it did impact this same area. So folks down here know it all too well that we can get severe weather certainly down in these parts. So we still have, according to my watch, it is currently 9:08. The warning goes for Wayne and Holmes until 9:30 right there. There's the town of Fredericksburg. There's Millersburg there. And again, we do want to keep you posted on this until the warning, or at least until the danger has passed. Doppler radar indicated tornado. I don't believe we've had any tornado touchdown confirmations today. What will happen is if there is significant damage from this storm, the Weather Service then will go out tomorrow and they will do a survey. Let's go ahead and do a track here, Sam, on the middle and the most dangerous part of this storm, where our rotation most likely is. And again, this storm is moving off to the east, a little south of east at about 30 miles per hour. There's the town of Worcester. Worcester, you guys are fine, no issues. It's south of Worcester. That's where the issue is. In fact, Wayne County, we're really talking southern Wayne County. This is mostly now a Holmes County event. Mount Hope here in the next 12 minutes. Bars Mills, that's just west of 77. And some of these towns are townships or they're locators. They're not necessarily cities. But when you have an area like this where you don't have a ton of towns and cities, townships are used. That's why folks were really confused about Vermilion. It is a township in Ashland County. It's also a great city there along the lake shore, but it's also a township there, spelled differently. Strasburg, 944. So Strasburg's right along 77. Dover, 952. Now this is Tuscarawas County, okay? There's no warning for Tusk yet. In fact, Tuscarawas County's warning coordination office is Pittsburgh. So Cleveland will have to hand off to Pittsburgh here with this storm. But Tuscarawas County is in the 19 News viewing area. So if this storm continues into Tusk, we will stay on for it. So again, eastern, really central and eastern Holmes County, far southeastern Wayne County, those are the danger zones right now, Sam, with this storm. And again, we show you the velocity product. It gives you an eye into the storm. If we could go back to our debris tracker and we have that correlation. Okay, so again, when you look at this, everything seems pretty decent. Nothing really catches your eye. Then you have a lot of turbulence down here towards the Millersburg area. Right there, you see that area, that little yellow area? That could easily be a spin up, or some dust flying around, perhaps some trees or leaves. Something like that, you'll point that out and it'll catch your eye. Not much north of that, and that's okay. This is what we like to see. This means things are pretty quiet. Yeah, heavy rain, wind for sure, but not necessarily the potential debris. That's what this technology does on First Alert Doppler. It finds that debris. We can go back now to the radar. And again, this is a nasty storm bringing strong winds in the order of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Tornado warning aside, this is a very powerful and very potent storm. And again, the warning for Holmes and Wayne goes until 9:30. Sam, anything folks at home should be thinking about right now as we're tracking this storm moving through northern Wayne or northern Holmes into southern Wayne County?
Just keep in mind that if you're out there in northern Tuscarawas County, be watching this storm closely. Of course, we will be too, and we'll alert you if the warning is extended into Tuscarawas County. At this time, it hasn't been, but if this rotation continues, and the storm has been rotating off and on for several hours, that will be extended for you. In the meantime, we have just over 15 minutes left on this warning, so some areas on the far eastern edge of the polygon where we need to seek shelter. You can see Route 515 here, 39. Again, these are pretty rural areas. Walnut Creek.
Yeah, Walnut Creek, watch out.
Got to seek shelter down there because, again, this warning is in effect for about another 15 or so minutes. We're not seeing a ton of debris or anything like that showing up on the correlation coefficient, which is that crazy-looking radar product Jason was just showing you. But certainly that potential is there. If not for a tornado in this warning, then for damaging straight-line wind on the order of 60 to 70 miles.
Yeah, I think that's why the warning is still going here, because right along the leading edge, even south of Millersburg too, there's a lot of funkiness down that way as well. We could have some weak spinets even out of the tornado warning. Right there, you can see reds and greens pretty close to each other, right on the edge of the leading edge of that wind. And then, of course, we have a little stronger rotation in and around the Millersburg area, right there. Yeah, just south of Fredericksburg. I tell you what, I think Wayne County, while you're still underneath this tornado warning, you have some bad weather out towards the Mount Eaton area and Fredericksburg, but your danger is soon to pass on this storm. You see that little notch right there out ahead of that, kind of how it kind of does a little curve there. That's where we might see that rotation near ground level, just north of Millersburg there. Again, this is very hilly area down here into Holmes County. Certainly not the easiest to navigate. This is Route 83, there's 62, and then as you head out of Millersburg to the north and east as well, 241 there. This is all now moving really in more so, Sam, into Holmes County versus a Wayne County event. That's where we're seeing most of this rotation here, and it's diffuse. It's pretty large. It's not tight. It's not tightly compact. But again, we take tornado warnings seriously here. It's the most serious thing we do in the weather office for sure. And it's just another reminder that severe weather, even though we're in July, and not many folks think of severe thunderstorms in July. We normally think of heat and maybe some heavy rains, but not necessarily tornadic thunderstorms. We can have this type of weather here in northern Ohio. While our tornadoes aren't these huge ones you see out in Tornado Alley, we know, I've been doing this here in Cleveland, 16 years or so. We know that we can get a significant amount of damage here in northern Ohio from potentially even a weaker tornado. Remember, we had one out outside of just west of Strongsville there, Eaton Township, a couple of months ago. So a lot of heavy rain here as well. Fredericksburg over to Mount Eaton. There's the town of Millersburg. And again, you don't really see much on the radar that looks too ominous. It's more inside the storm, but right on the leading edge here, that's where the strongest winds are. There's the town of Mount Eaton. There's Fredericksburg here. There's Sugar Creek. So we'll see, Sam. It's kind of something, Sam, you and I have been dealing with all night. Does the next county issue the warning for this storm? And in this case, they let it drop, and we both said, hey, we might be back on the air in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And sure enough, it was about 20 to 25 minutes later, we're right back on the air because the dynamics in the storm are still the same. It's just a matter of, does that signature with the rotation match up? And in this case, it has. And again, I want to point out, while we're on the air for a tornado warning, this is also a very dangerous straight line wind event right now blowing through southeastern, really eastern Holmes County. As I look at it, Sam, tell me if you think anything differently. Wayne County's danger is ending by the moment, right?
For sure. Yeah, Wayne County, we're no longer concerned at this time for tornadoes for you. Even damaging straight line wind. I mean, honestly, that's really moving more towards extreme eastern Holmes County. It looks like as we continue to get new radar
just cut it
scans. Oh, they did? Okay, good news there. I mean, this looks like, Jason, it's transitioning more to a straight line wind event.
Bowing out, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've trimmed back the warning. I assume it still goes until 9:30. That's correct. This is the worst part of the storm right here, Sam. There's no question.
Yeah. Sure.
There's Mount Eaton right there. This is in eastern Holmes County. I mean, we get down to the detail here, and we have a huge area here in northern Ohio, going basically from almost Sandusky to Ashtabula, down to Youngstown, all the way down to Mansfield, down to Dover, New Philly. So we cover a very large area, and that makes it challenging because not a lot of folks right now are being affected by this storm, but we are on the air down there, and we have to let folks know about this danger. So there's 241 right here. There's the town of Millersburg, 515. There's a little hail there where you see the gray, and then we've got this damaging straight line wind event most likely happening. Most likely, unfortunately, causing damage as we speak, down trees, down power lines. Would expect some power outages through Holmes County, and that's never a good thing, especially with how hot it has been, and how hot it will continue to be. To lose power is never a good thing in the middle of a very hot summer that we're experiencing here in northern Ohio. Severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so Pittsburgh has decided not to, at least right now, issue a tornado warning. They've gone with the severe thunderstorm warning. And that's nothing to not pay attention to. It's something to absolutely pay attention to because this storm is the one that's producing potentially the tornado in Holmes County and Wayne County right now. So there's your new warning. That's a severe thunderstorm warning until 10 p.m. Carroll, Coshocton, and Tuscarawas County, Harrison 2 out of our viewing area here. And it's all because of what's happening right here. Let's go ahead and track the leading edge of this cell as it blows through Tusk County. 927, Sugar Creek, Dover 936, on into New Philly 942. Okay, so that might be a little slow, but anytime around about 935, 940, New Philly, Dover, 935, 940, and then Carrollton here as well. Large hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Yeah, easily 60-mile-per-hour winds with this storm. And the hail, quarter-sized hail. So just think of that coming down on the ground. Not a good thing. Tornado warning still in effect for another 10 minutes. We will see if that is reissued. Right now, Pittsburgh is in charge of Tuscarawas County and points east. They've issued a severe thunderstorm warning. It's not a huge difference in my opinion because at this point, this storm out of Holmes County is really producing very strong, damaging straight line wind event. So Cleveland Weather Service may allow this to expire here momentarily, but as of now, they're keeping it going. And you can see where the rotation is. Again, it's a pretty large area of rotation. And what happens in these cases is that we don't necessarily have one specific instance or one specific spot. Remember earlier we were on the air for that Vermilion Township and that Mansfield and that Ontario tornado. That was a specific bullseye area. In this case, you can see that we likely have 2, 3, 4 areas of rotation right along this leading edge, right here where you see the blue arrow. And that's where, if we have a tornado, we may have a few spin-ups, a few weak spin-ups. But the line itself is producing damaging winds, 60, 70 miles per hour as this storm blows through. Good news, Fredericksburg. Good news, Millersburg. While you're in the tornado warning, the danger has passed. This is now strictly a very eastern Holmes County event. Yeah, you're getting some rain and wind up towards the Mount Eaton area, but for the most part, that's not anything tornadic. It's barely even severe at this point. But this is where we're watching right now. Big winds blowing right across Route 39. This is north of Walnut Creek. There's 515, 241. What's this? Hail. It's a good bet. There's some hail right there in that gray area, and that's about to cross 515. And eventually this is moving into Tuscarawas County. So we'll see here. We've got 10 more minutes or so on this warning, 9 minutes or so on this warning, and whether or not this is reissued for Tuscarawas County. Sam, anything that we can talk about or be provided with any updates from spotters, from potential police scanners, any information?
So north and west of Walnut Creek, little area, Berlin, that's again, north,
Berlin,
north
Beautiful
and
town.
west of Walnut Creek. So the reason they're maintaining this tornado warning, not allowing it to expire, they're seeing a little rotation in that area near Route 62 and decent surge in velocity off of Pittsburgh's radar. Most likely straight line wind there, still a very dangerous storm. I do have an emergency management report out of Holmes County, tree down around Shreve, so that storm was definitely producing some
There'll be
storm.
more of those as we head through the
sure,
evening and
for
the
sure.
nighttime. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so interesting there, what Sam just talked about with that Berlin velocity or that rotation near the Berlin area down there in Holmes County. Great part of northern Ohio for sure. So there's a look at that tornado warning, and we will stay on the air until it expires or the threat has passed. And that looks like a severe thunderstorm warning that just popped up, Sam. That's interesting. So that is basically for Stark and Holmes. So, okay, so it's southern Stark County and it's eastern Holmes County until 10:15. All right, so they're expecting that basically they're covering it with straight line winds at this point, which leads me to believe the tornado warning will likely expire at 9:30 if it doesn't even do it before, right?
So they're mentioning in their warning text, tornado possible, obviously still radar indicated, most likely because that storm previously produced some funnel clouds and reports of wall clouds. So Jason was talking about how embedded within this velocity product, we see just not clear rotation where red and green are intertwined, but where they are next to one another. And we can have little spin-ups along that pathway of red and green. So, Jason, you can see that's headed towards the 77 corridor, so not an area of Stark County that I'd want to be traveling in.
No, and again, we talked about this along I-77. Friends, family heading through Canton, if they're perhaps heading up 77, a lot of folks travel down to the Virginias and the Carolinas along 77. Maybe give them a heads up, say, hey, hold on, maybe pull off in south along Interstate 70 at a rest stop. Wait till this stuff blows through before heading back north. And same would be heading south. You don't want to drive through this stuff, especially as nighttime is here. There's a lot of rain, there's hail, and hey, there could be rotation along this very strong wind gust here, very strong wind gust coming out of portions of Holmes and Wayne County right there. So still have that tornado warning going until 9:30. We've been on the air since a little bit before 9 o'clock for this coverage of this particular tornado, and we were on earlier for the one blowing through Richland and Ashland County, as these storms have basically moved right along US 30 and have now slid a little bit south, as typically does happen with the environment. See, what's happening is all this air right here where my right hand is, this is all very conducive to severe thunderstorm development. Everything back here, no, it's already been tapped out. Everything up here, it's tapped out. So what happens is these storms get this fuel. They don't stop. And what happens is they'll turn to this environment down here that's basically fuel to keep going. So as long as that's still there, these storms are going to go all night into southeast Ohio most likely, and eventually here, eventually into West Virginia and even into western PA. Boy, the north part of this storm, Sam, just really got robbed, High severe weather threat, yeah, correct. Clear up there, high severe threat here. Yeah, the north part really has just fizzled, thankfully for folks in the Route 11 corridor.
Yeah, we can look out here if you want to go into Trumbull County. I'm no longer seeing a ton of rotation with this. Certainly, tornado threat is not an issue at this time, but
strong winds.
High winds, yeah, 60, possibly 65 plus miles per hour. No warning though, so that's good. Again, it is going away from the radar, so the data gets a little funky out there, but we're out looking in Trumbull County, and main concern is for strong wind coming into Warren.
Yeah, with this storm right here, and then farther north, stuff's moving through Ashtabula County, and that's also moving out of the state. So let's one last time recap here and get us down here, and we will hopefully be able to sign off and get you back to programming, and we can hopefully sign off for the night. I'm optimistic about that. 9:30 on the warning here for Holmes and Wayne, so still have about 4 minutes here. And what we're tracking is basically this leading edge now moving into Tuscarawas County. A lot of heavy rain, a lot of hail back towards Millersburg potentially, but the rotation is out the beginning right here at the leading edge. Right there, see how it's kind of almost like a belly or like a little circle, almost like a half circle. That's the bowing out of this storm. And when it does that, we know we have very strong winds right at the leading edge of this particular cell moving out of Holmes County. And as we would expect, our tornado warning for Holmes and Wayne County has expired. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jason Nicholas. We're going to keep watching this along with meteorologist Samantha Roberts. Should we again see spin or a tornado warning is issued or any of those storms look a little funky, we'll go ahead and break in. But for now, we will send you back to your regular program. Stay safe.